When danger approaches, most people react with fear, discomfort, panic, or avoidance. But the masters of discipline, the ones who spent their lives studying the human mind and spiritual growth, discovered a truth that ordinary people overlook. Danger is not a threat, it is a signal that you are being awakened, a signal that you are being called to rise, a signal that something inside you is ready to transform. When the end of November approaches, there is a shift in the air that sensitive people can feel. Something becomes heavier, more intense, more demanding. It is not a coincidence. Every cycle of time carries a specific energy, and the closing of November is a moment where that energy presses against you, forcing you to pay attention. The reason it feels dangerous is because it activates the awareness inside you that you've been suppressing throughout the year. You begin to notice what you ignored. You begin to feel what you avoided. You begin to confront what you delayed. This confrontation with truth is what creates the sense of danger. It is not the world outside that threatens you. It is the confrontation with your own potential, your own responsibility, your own unrealized power. Shi Heng Yi often reminds his students that the moment of danger is the moment of awakening. When a human being senses danger, something ancient awakens inside them. Focus sharpens, attention intensifies, and awareness expands. This is the same awareness required for transformation. That is why danger becomes the gateway to growth. Without danger, you would sleepwalk through life. Without danger, you would remain comfortable. Without danger, you would never rise. Comfort has destroyed more dreams than failure ever could. Comfort has made people weak, passive, and disconnected from their purpose. But danger shakes you awake. It tells you that the path you are walking must be walked with your eyes fully open. It tells you that the person you were is not enough to survive where you are going. It tells you that something new must be born within you. The end of November brings this exact awakening. It exposes the areas of your life where you have been careless. It shows you the corners where you have been hiding your weaknesses. It reveals the habits that are silently destroying your potential. It forces you to see the truth you refuse to face. And this is why it feels dangerous. Because truth is always dangerous to a person who has been avoiding responsibility. Truth is dangerous to a person who has been burying their potential under laziness, excuses, distractions, and emotional dependence. Truth is dangerous to a person who has been surviving instead of growing. But for the awakened one, danger is not fear, it is clarity. It is the moment where everything becomes visible. When the masters train in the mountains or in the sacred halls, they do not fear danger. They study it. They observe it. They walk into it with awareness because they understand that avoiding danger only makes you weaker. When danger appears, you have two choices: to shrink or to grow, to fall or to rise, to panic or to awaken. Every dangerous moment in life is designed to reveal your hidden strength. But if you refuse to step into the moment, you will never discover who you truly are. You will keep repeating the same behaviors, the same mistakes, the same cycles, the same disappointments. Life will keep sending you lessons until you finally pay attention. And the end of November is one of those lessons. Something inside you already feels it. A pressure, a restlessness, a sense that time is running out, a sense that you must make a decision, a sense that you cannot continue living the way you have been. This pressure is not to harm you. It is to awaken you. It is the sign that your spirit is tired of being neglected. It is the sign that your potential is ready to emerge. It is the sign that your destiny is waiting for you, but cannot open until you change. If you feel danger, understand this. You are being called to level up. You are being called to break a pattern. You are being called to end a chapter of your life so a new one can begin. The danger you feel is not external, it is internal. It is the danger of staying the same, the danger of ignoring your calling, the danger of drifting instead of directing, The danger of silence when you should be speaking. The danger of pleading for change while refusing to change yourself. There is no greater danger than a life unlived. No outside force can harm you more than your own hesitation, your own self-betrayal, your own unfulfilled potential. When the end of November arrives and the energy becomes heavy, it is not a curse, it is an opportunity. The heaviness is the weight of your old self being pushed out. The intensity is the pressure your soul creates when it is demanding transformation. The sense of danger is the invitation to stop living blind. All growth begins with awareness. When danger wakes up your awareness, you begin to see the truth with painful clarity, your habits, your excuses, the people who drain you, the distractions that weaken you, the fears that limit you, the emotions that control you, the opportunities you ignored, the potential you buried. Awareness is uncomfortable, but it is the doorway to breakthrough. You cannot change what you refuse to see, and you cannot rise while holding on to illusions. The end of November strips away illusions. It forces you to see life as it is, yourself as you are, and your future as it could be if you dare to rise. Everything you have been running from begins to stand in front of you. That is why it feels dangerous, because truth catches up to everyone eventually. In the monastery, the monks do not run from this truth, they welcome it. They understand that the faster you face reality, the faster you grow. They walk into cold water, not because they enjoy discomfort, but because discomfort trains the mind to remain stable. They practice silence, not because silence is easy, but because silence reveals what noise hides. They confront their weaknesses, not because they are fearless, but because they know fear only grows when ignored. You must take the same approach now. Do not run from the danger you feel at the end of November. Study it, observe it, listen to it. Let it teach you where your next level of strength must be built. The truth is, this danger is never random. There is always a message inside it. Sometimes the message is, pay attention. Sometimes the message is, change direction, break the habit before it destroys you. Sometimes the message is, this person cannot go into your future with you. Sometimes the message is God gave you. And sometimes the message is simply, the end of November is dangerous because it carries all the uniforms, the messages at once. It compresses the entire year's lessons into one silent warning: transform now. Think about your life for a moment. Think about how many times you felt danger before something major changed. Think about how your intuition warned you before someone betrayed you. Think about how your body felt restless before an opportunity appeared. Think about how discomfort pushed you into a new path. Think about how pain forced you to grow. Every major transformation begins with danger. Every awakening begins with awareness. Every breakthrough begins with the moment you say, I cannot continue like this. That moment has come again. That is why the end of November feels heavy. It is the moment life is asking you to choose: remain asleep or awaken fully. Remaining asleep is easy. It requires no effort, no responsibility, no discipline, no courage. But it comes with a heavy cost: regret, missed opportunities, wasted potential, emotional exhaustion, spiritual numbness. Awakening, on the other hand, is hard. It demands self-reflection, honesty, strength, discipline, and change. But it comes with the reward of growth, peace, clarity, power, and a destiny fulfilled. Shi Heng Yi teaches that the path of awakening always begins with awareness. Awareness begins with danger. So when you sense danger at the end of November, do not hide. Stand still, breathe, observe. Ask yourself, what is life showing me right now? What am I ignoring? What habit must I break? What truth must I confront? What fear must I face? What responsibility have I avoided? What potential am I wasting? What path is calling me? Asking these questions is not a sign of weakness. It is the beginning of mastery. The people who ask these questions become the ones who rise above the rest. Most people will feel the end of November approaching, but they will ignore it. They will pretend everything is fine. They will distract themselves with entertainment, noise, gossip, laziness, and meaningless activities. They will avoid discomfort until discomfort becomes their life. They will stay blind until life forces them to open their eyes through pain. Do not be like them. Let the sense of danger become your guide, not your enemy. Let it sharpen you, not weaken you. Let it push you, not paralyze you. When you feel danger, understand that you are standing at the doorstep of a new version of yourself. The question is whether you will walk through that door or stay where you are. There is a part of you that knows the truth already. You know you are meant for more. You know there is greatness inside you. You know that your current level is not your final level. You know that God has been sending signs. You know that your intuition has been speaking to you. You know that the end of November carries a message specifically for you. You have ignored enough warnings in your life. This time, do not ignore it. Let the danger awaken your awareness. Let awareness awaken your discipline. Let discipline awaken your destiny. You do not rise by accident. You rise through choice, through awareness, through courage. And danger is the moment where that choice becomes impossible to avoid. You either rise or collapse. But if you choose to rise, truly rise, you will look back on this moment at the end of November and understand that it was not danger at all. It was the beginning of your awakening. Discipline is the invisible force that shapes destiny long before destiny ever becomes visible. People speak of dreams, goals, future, calling, success, and divine timing, but very few understand the foundation beneath all of it: discipline. Without discipline, potential is wasted. Without discipline, guidance is ignored. Without discipline, even the greatest opportunities dissolve before your eyes. At the end of November, the most dangerous thing threatening a human being is not the world, not the circumstances, not the timing, not the economy, not enemies, not obstacles. The greatest danger is the collapse of self-discipline. When discipline falls, your entire life structure falls with it. When discipline rises, your entire life elevates with it. Shi Heng Yi often teaches that the quality of your discipline is the mirror of the quality of your future. If you want to know what your life will look like 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 5 years from now, you do not need prophecy. You need honesty. Look at your discipline. Look at what you do daily, not what you claim to desire. The end of November exposes the truth that many people try to hide. They want success without effort, growth without sacrifice, spiritual elevation without inner work, strength without struggle, and change without commitment. Desire without discipline is nothing but a dream floating in the clouds. Discipline is what pulls it down into reality. The end of November becomes dangerous because it is the moment the universe quietly evaluates your entire year. It is the moment life asks a simple question: were you disciplined? Did you show up for your purpose? Did you follow the signs? Did you honor your potential? If the answer is no, then the danger emerges in the form of regret, stagnation, panic, emotional heaviness, confusion, and inner conflict. But if the answer is yes, then the danger transforms into opportunity, breakthrough, open doors, and divine alignment. The same end of November becomes two completely different experiences depending on the strength of your discipline. People want miracles, but they forget that miracles require a place to land. And the ground miracles land on is discipline. Without it, blessings slip from your hands. Without it, guidance becomes noise. Without it, time becomes an enemy instead of an ally. Without it, you remain trapped in cycles that repeat year after year. The end of November becomes dangerous because it exposes whether you have been building your inner self or destroying it. The danger is not external, it is internal. When you lack discipline, your mind becomes scattered. Your emotions control you. Your fears define your choices. Your habits betray you. Your energy leaks into meaningless directions. Your time is consumed by distractions. Your potential becomes dormant, and your spirit feels suffocated. This internal chaos makes every external event look threatening, even when it is simply a call to rise. On the other hand, when discipline is strong, you become centered. Your emotions align, your mind becomes clear, your fears shrink, your habits support you, your energy becomes focused, your time becomes sacred, your potential becomes activated. You feel spiritually awake, physically strong, mentally present, and emotionally stable. In this state, the end of November is not dangerous, it is empowering. Shi Heng Yi trains monks with one core principle: discipline is freedom. It may look restrictive from the outside: waking up early, repetitive training, structured routines, silence, focus, consistent practice. But inside that discipline is the freedom to move without hesitation, to see without distortion, to act without doubt, to feel without confusion. Most people think freedom is doing whatever they want. True freedom is having the strength to do what you must. Discipline gives you that strength. At the end of November, many people start slowing down. They relax, they lose focus, they become emotional. They start drifting. They allow laziness to creep in. And they convince themselves that the year is already over. That is why November becomes dangerous, not because something bad is coming, but because people stop being disciplined. They waste the most powerful time of the year. When others slow down, the master speeds up. When others lose focus, the disciplined mind sharpens. When others say, "Next year," the awakened one says, "No." This is the difference between those who rise and those who remain stagnant. Your discipline is your protection. It protects your energy from people who drain you. It protects your mind from negativity. It protects your emotions from instability. It protects your spirit from confusion. It protects your time from being wasted. It protects your purpose from being diluted. Without discipline, every small challenge becomes overwhelming. With discipline, even big challenges become manageable. Think of a warrior entering battle. The warrior does not fear the battlefield if he has trained with discipline for months, years, maybe decades. But an untrained person fears even the smallest confrontation. Life works the same way. The end of November is only dangerous to the undisciplined. To the disciplined, it is simply another chapter to conquer. Every disciplined act is a brick in the foundation of your character. When you choose not to snooze the alarm, when you push through discomfort, when you face tasks you don't feel like doing, when you control your emotions instead of letting them control you, when you stay committed even when motivation fades, these small victories accumulate, forming the unshakable version of you. Discipline turns pain into power. It turns doubt into direction. It turns fear into fuel. It turns time into a tool instead of a threat. The danger of the end of November is that your old self begins to whisper louder. It tells you to take it easy. It tells you that you have time. It tells you that you deserve rest without fulfilling your responsibilities. It tells you to go back to old habits. It tells you to avoid hard decisions. It tells you to wait. This voice is the true danger. It is the voice of comfort, the voice of stagnation, the voice that has kept millions trapped in the same life for decades. But discipline silences that voice. Discipline is the voice that says, "Do what must be done, even when you don't want to do it." Shi Heng Yi teaches that discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect. You discipline your body because you respect your health. You discipline your mind because you respect your potential. You discipline your emotions because you respect your peace. You discipline your actions because you respect your future. You discipline your habits because you respect your purpose. And you discipline your time because you respect your destiny. A person without discipline is a person without self-respect. Look at your daily routine. It reveals more truth about your future than any prediction, prayer, or wish. Are you consuming more than you create? Are you procrastinating more than you act? Are you thinking more than you execute? Are you talking more than you commit? Are you dreaming more than you discipline yourself? These questions determine whether the end of November becomes a breakthrough or a breakdown for you. Every year, at the same time, millions of people promise themselves they will change. But change does not happen in the mind. It happens in the body, in the habits, in the actions, in the days when discipline feels difficult. Change is not emotional, it is behavioral. Emotional change lasts minutes. Disciplinary change lasts a lifetime. The end of November brings a certain intensity. It compresses all the lessons of the year into a spiritual test. Will you choose discipline when it matters most? The answer to this question shapes your entire future. If you cannot control your mind at the end of November, you will repeat the same mistakes in December, January, and throughout the next year. But if you can master discipline now, you set the tone for the entire upcoming cycle. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are meant to be. Without it, the bridge collapses. With it, the bridge becomes unbreakable. There are people who pray for growth, but refuse the discipline growth requires. There are people who ask God for a new chapter, but refuse to close the old one through disciplined action. There are people who want success, but live like someone who is preparing for failure. Life does not give you what you want. It gives you what you practice. If you want to elevate your life, elevate your discipline first. If you want to master your destiny, master your daily choices. If you want to change your year, change your routines. If you want to end November with power rather than danger, become disciplined today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is the favorite lie of the undisciplined mind. In the monastery, the monks understand that discipline is sacred. They do not train for the sake of training. They train to expand consciousness. They practice control to reduce chaos. They create structure to access inner peace. They repeat rituals to shape identity. This is why they move with calmness even in tension. This is why their mind is steady even during challenges. Discipline has shaped them into beings who do not panic, who do not collapse, who do not lose themselves in moments of intensity. You must become the spiritual warrior of your own life. The end of November is intense, but intensity is not danger for the disciplined. Intensity is fuel. Intensity is momentum. Intensity is power. Intensity is awakening. The undisciplined feel overwhelmed. The disciplined feel activated. The undisciplined feel threatened. The disciplined feel ready. The undisciplined feel lost. The disciplined feel aligned. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about consistency. It is about doing the right thing even if you fail sometimes. It is about rising every time you fall. It is about returning to the path, no matter how many times you drift. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be committed. Even one disciplined action today can rewrite the energy of your entire week. One disciplined day can shift the trajectory of your month. One disciplined month can change your entire life. The truth is simply, you cannot reach a higher destiny with a lower level of discipline. If you want December to bless you, you must prepare yourself now. Do not wait for the new year to start strong. Start strong before the year ends. The end of November is the most powerful time to reset your mind, rebuild your habits, and reshape your future. Discipline is not something you do. It is something you become. It is a state of being, a core identity, a way of walking through the world. When discipline becomes your nature, destiny becomes your companion. And once destiny walks with you, no danger can stop you. Human intuition is one of the greatest gifts a human being possesses, yet one of the most misunderstood, neglected, and ignored forces in life. It is the silent guide that speaks without speaking. It is the inner knowing that arrives without explanation. It is the compass that points you toward alignment long before the mind can rationally understand what is happening. At the end of November, intuition becomes louder, clearer, sharper, and more insistent because this time of year carries a specific spiritual tension, a tightening of energy, a thinning of the veil between your mind and the deeper layers of awareness. It becomes dangerous not because intuition is wrong, but because most people do not listen to it. And when intuition is ignored, life must force clarity through discomfort. Shi Heng Yi teaches that intuition is the whisper of your highest self, and when the whisper is ignored, it eventually becomes a shout. And when the shout is ignored, life becomes a reflection of chaos, tension, emotional disturbance, and unexplainable heaviness. The end of November is dangerous because it is the moment your intuition begins to reveal everything that has been off path in your life. It exposes the truth about people, relationships, habits, environments, decisions, and directions that are draining your energy. Intuition removes the illusions you used to hide behind. It reveals what your logical mind has been too afraid to admit. And this sudden confrontation with truth can feel dangerous. Your intuition does not warn you to scare you. It warns you to prepare you. It warns you to redirect your steps. It warns you to choose differently. It warns you to let go, to walk away, to stand up, to act, to pay attention, to stop pretending, to stop settling, to stop sleeping through your own life. And the problem is that the closer the year comes to its end, the more intense intuition becomes. It knows something your mind does not. Your next chapter cannot begin with the same version of you. Something must be released. Something must transform. Something must end. Your intuition knows this long before you understand it. This is why so many people feel unexplainable tension at the end of November, a heaviness in the chest, a restless mind, a sense that something is shifting, a feeling that something is coming, a pull to detach, a need for stillness, a desire to be alone, a sudden clarity about someone's true intentions, a strange discomfort around certain environments, a powerful urge to make a decision you've been delaying. These are not coincidences. These are not mood swings. These are not random waves of emotion. These are signals. This is intuition trying to protect you from the future you cannot yet see. And ignoring these signals is the real danger. Most people do not fail because of lack of intelligence, lack of talent, or lack of opportunity. They fail because they ignore their intuition. They stay where they no longer belong. They trust people who have already shown their true intentions. They continue habits that are silently destroying them. They avoid decisions that would save them. They close their eyes to signs that have been screaming for attention. And then life becomes painful. But that pain was never punishment. It was simply the consequence of ignoring the inner warning. Shi Heng Yi teaches that the body speaks first, the mind speaks second, and intuition speaks last. But intuition is always the truth. The body feels discomfort when something is wrong. The mind creates stories to avoid dealing with it. But intuition stands silently behind it all, pointing toward the path you are meant to take. When intuition is ignored, the body suffers, the mind becomes conflicted, and the spirit becomes restless. This inner war is why November feels dangerous for so many. Their intuition is trying to liberate them, but their habits are trying to imprison them. Intuition is like a lantern in the dark. It does not illuminate the entire path. It simply shows you the next step. But that next step is always the right one. The danger arises when you refuse to take it. You begin to feel stuck. You begin to feel lost. You begin to feel confused. You begin to feel heavy. These feelings are not signs that you are failing. They are signs that you are not listening. Every time you ignore intuition, you move further away from your path. Every time you honor intuition, you move closer to alignment. At the end of November, intuition tries to close the chapters that cannot continue into December. You feel it in the people who suddenly drain you, the conversations that feel empty, the habits that suddenly feel wrong, the decisions that feel overdue, the responsibilities that feel urgent, the desires that feel deeper, the clarity that feels stronger. This is intuition attempting to free you from the weight you no longer need to carry. And the truth is, if you do not let go now, the weight will follow you into the next year, into the next cycle, into the next chapter of your life. This is the true danger. Not the energy of November, but the possibility of carrying old burdens into your new life. Intuition speaks in many ways: a headache when you think about the wrong decision, peace when you think about the right one, discomfort around certain people, sudden inspiration towards certain ideas, a quiet voice saying, leave, or stop, or go, or pay attention, a feeling of heaviness that disappears the moment you think of choosing a different direction. These are not small things. These are not meaningless sensations. These are the whispers of your inner teacher. Shi Heng Yi says that intuition is the highest form of intelligence because it comes from awareness, not from fear. Fear narrows your vision. Intuition expands it. Fear rushes you. Intuition centers you. Fear confuses you. Intuition clarifies you. Fear distracts you. Intuition awakens you. When you learn to distinguish between fear and intuition, you become truly powerful. Fear says, do not move. Intuition says, move, but move wisely. Fear says, something bad will happen. Intuition says, something is misaligned. Listen. At the end of November, your intuition becomes more present because the spiritual energy of the year is closing. Every ending brings reflection, recalibration, and revelation. Your intuition begins to show you everything that must change before the next cycle begins. The danger is not the intuition itself, the danger is resisting it. When you resist intuition, life intensifies the lessons. When you listen to intuition, life opens the path. This inner guidance is not mystical, it is practical. It warns you when a habit is weakening you. It warns you when a person is emotionally unsafe. It warns you when a decision will cost you more than it gives. It warns you when a path leads away from your purpose. Intuition is the guardian of your destiny. It sees the cliff before you reach it. It feels the storm before it arrives. It senses the betrayal before it becomes visible. And it recognizes opportunity before anyone else notices it. If you look back at your life, you will realize something powerful. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every disappointment came with a warning you ignored. A feeling, a sign, a hesitation, a dream, a sudden discomfort, a moment of clarity you pushed away. Life does not punish, it teaches. And the end of November is one of the greatest teachers because it magnifies intuition so intensely that ignoring it becomes nearly impossible. This is why you feel a deep spiritual pull during this time. You may not have words for it, but you feel it. You feel a message pressing against your chest. You feel a truth rising that you can no longer avoid. You feel a need to step into something new or step away from something old. You feel an inner voice saying, this is the moment. That voice is intuition calling you to evolve. Shi Heng Yi says that when intuition calls, you have two choices: to listen or to suffer. Listening leads to alignment, peace, clarity, and purpose. Ignoring leads to confusion, delays, emotional heaviness, and repeated lessons. The end of November does not bring danger, it brings a mirror. And in that mirror, you see your truth. This truth may be uncomfortable, but it is liberating. It might hurt to accept, but it will hurt even more to deny. When intuition speaks, it asks you to let go of illusions. It asks you to see people as they are, not as you wish they were. It asks you to see habits as they truly impact you, not as you justify them. It asks you to face decisions you have avoided. It asks you to stop pretending not to know. Most people claim they are confused, but the truth is they are afraid. Confusion is often fear in disguise. Intuition always knows. At the end of November, your intuition begins pushing you toward the alignment your soul requires. This may involve leaving a relationship, starting a new path, ending a toxic habit, choosing a new lifestyle, healing an old wound, forgiving yourself, speaking your truth, moving forward, or finally claiming the life that is meant for you. Whatever it is, intuition will push until you listen. And if you continue to ignore it, the pressure will increase. Intuition is patient, but it is persistent. It will repeat the message through dreams, emotions, synchronicities, unexpected signs, repeated numbers, sudden insights, and physical sensations. It will send the same signal in different forms until you understand. You cannot outrun intuition because intuition is not outside you. It is inside you. It is your deeper self, your wiser self, your future self guiding your present self. Shi Heng Yi teaches that meditation sharpens intuition. Stillness reveals what distraction hides. Quiet reveals what noise covers. When you sit in silence, even for a few minutes, your intuition begins to speak clearly. This is why most people avoid silence. They are afraid of hearing the truth. But the truth is the only thing that can save them. And the end of November amplifies this truth so loudly that silence becomes impossible to avoid. If you feel unsettled, it is because something inside you is trying to shift. If you feel tense, it is because a decision must be made. If you feel emotional, it is because an old version of you is breaking. If you feel confused, it is because your soul is separating you from something that cannot go with you. These feelings are not your enemy. They are your inner compass redirecting you. The more you resist intuition, the heavier everything feels. The more you honor it, the lighter your life becomes. Intuition does not remove challenges. It guides you through them with clarity. It does not eliminate struggle. It strengthens you for the journey. It does not control your life. It aligns your life. Intuition leads to flow, and flow leads to destiny. The end of November can feel dangerous because, for many, it is the first time all year that intuition becomes louder than their excuses. It becomes louder than their fears, louder than their denial, louder than their habits, louder than their emotional attachments. It reveals what must change, and change always feels like danger to the old self. But the new self is waiting on the other side. You cannot step into your destiny while ignoring your intuition. You cannot reach your next level with the awareness of your previous one. You cannot become who you are meant to be while clinging to who you no longer are. Intuition is the bridge. It shows you the direction even when the path is unfamiliar. It gives you the courage to move even when you feel afraid. It gives you clarity even when your mind tries to complicate everything. When the end of November arrives, your intuition is not your enemy. It is your guide. It is the voice that sees beyond the surface. It is the force that protects your future. It is the wisdom that knows what your soul needs. The more you trust it, the more aligned your life becomes. The less you resist it, the faster your destiny unfolds. The danger is not in intuition. The danger is in pretending you do not hear it. There comes a moment in every human life when silence becomes heavier than sound, when the universe stops whispering and begins to speak clearly. And today, this message reaches you not by accident. God said, "This is my last and final warning to you. Not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Not to punish you, but to redirect you. Not to break you, but to rebuild you." Life has tried to teach you through discomfort, through delays, through losses, through intuition that you kept ignoring, through signs you saw but didn't act on. But now the universe is no longer sending hints. It is sending clarity. This message is that clarity. You are being asked, no, called, to rise. Because the version of you that the world needs cannot be built in hesitation. And the version of you you have been living as is too small for your destiny. There comes a moment in every person's life when the universe stops speaking in gentle whispers and begins to speak in ways that cannot be ignored. You begin to feel it in the heaviness of your chest, in the quiet ache of your spirit, in the fatigue that settles into your bones every time you return to a place, a habit, or a person that no longer serves your growth. This is not coincidence. This is not weakness. This is your inner self, your higher self, trying to protect you from the very things you continue to run back to. The message is simple, and yet it is one of the hardest lessons a human being must learn. Stop returning to what damages you. Damage does not always look like destruction. Sometimes it looks like familiarity. It looks like comfort. It looks like a place you have known for so long that you have forgotten how to exist outside of it. Sometimes it looks like the people who once felt like home but have now become a cage. Sometimes it looks like the habits that once helped you cope but now keep you trapped. Sometimes it looks like the version of yourself you keep choosing because you are afraid of who you might become. If you truly let go of your past, damage can be quiet. It can be subtle. It can disguise itself as love, as loyalty, as nostalgia, as temporary relief. But deep down, your soul always knows the truth. It knows when something is draining you. It knows when something is pulling you backward. It knows when something is lowering your vibration, weakening your discipline, clouding your purpose. It knows, even when your mind refuses to listen. Every time you return to what damages you, your spirit becomes a little heavier. Not because you are weak, but because you are betraying yourself. There is a certain type of exhaustion that comes from physical labor, a fatigue that you can cure with rest. But there is another kind of exhaustion, the spiritual one, that no amount of sleep can fix. It is the exhaustion you feel when you keep giving your energy to situations that do not deserve it, to people who do not appreciate it, to habits that destroy it. You can rest your body, but if your spirit remains in the same toxic environment, the fatigue will return the moment you wake up. Life tries to warn you in gentle ways at first. Small discomforts, subtle intuition, quiet uneasiness. Maybe you feel a shift in someone's words. Maybe you notice your mood changing around certain people. Maybe you catch yourself feeling anxious in the very environment you keep convincing yourself is okay. These are signs. These are whispers. But most people ignore whispers because they don't want to confront the truth. Confrontation requires courage, and courage requires change. And change is something the mind often resists, even when the soul is begging for it. So the universe increases the volume. The discomfort grows stronger. The signs become louder. People reveal their true intentions. Situations collapse. Habits show their consequences. Peace becomes harder to find. You begin to feel disconnected from your own life. That is not punishment. That is guidance. When something is no longer aligned with your spirit, the universe will remove your comfort from it. Not because it wants to harm you, but because it wants to prevent you from continuing to harm yourself. Still, many people return. They return because they fear loneliness. Because the unknown terrifies them more than the pain they have learned to tolerate. Because suffering has become familiar, and familiarity can feel safer than healing. Because they have confused attachment with love, routine with loyalty, and temporary relief with peace. But every return carries a cost. Every time you go back to what damages you, you take something away from the person you are meant to become. You delay the life that is trying to reach you. You push away the blessings that require a healthier version of you. You close the door to opportunities that cannot coexist with the environments and people you refuse to let go of. The truth is harsh but liberating. You cannot carry your old life into the new chapter that is waiting for you. The habits that numbed you will not help you rise. The people who doubted you will not help you grow. The places where you became small will not allow you to expand. The routines that kept you safe will not unlock your potential. You must release the weight before you can rise. You must detach from the past before you can walk into your destiny. You must stop entertaining what weakens you if you want to step into what strengthens you. Letting go is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-love. You are not abandoning people. You are choosing peace. You are not betraying your past. You are honoring your future. You are not being selfish. You are finally learning to protect your energy. There is nothing noble about tolerating environments that harm your spirit. There is nothing admirable about staying in places that break you. There is nothing virtuous about shrinking yourself so others can feel comfortable. You were not sent to this world to survive in pain. You were sent to evolve, to expand, to elevate. The moment you stop returning to what damages you, everything begins to shift. Your mind becomes clearer. Your emotions become lighter. Your boundaries become stronger. Your intuition becomes sharper. The heaviness that once lived in your chest begins to dissolve. You start to feel differently. Not because life magically became easier, but because you finally stopped fighting the guidance that was always meant to lead you toward a better path. What damages you is not only external. Sometimes the most harmful thing you return to is your own old identity, the one built from fear, from doubt, from insecurity, from past experiences that shaped you but no longer define you. You keep returning to limiting beliefs that tell you you're not enough. You return to memories of failure that convince you not to try again. You return to stories you outgrew but continue to repeat because they feel familiar. You return to a version of yourself that no longer fits who you are becoming. And so life tries to break that identity, not to hurt you but to free you. Growth requires death, the death of old belief systems, old patterns, old comfort zones. You cannot become the person you were meant to be while holding on to the person you used to be. Sometimes what damages you is not malicious, it is simply outdated. Some people were only meant to walk with you for a chapter, not your entire book. Some habits served you in survival mode, but cannot serve you in growth mode. Some environments were stepping stones, not destinations. And when you cling to what has already expired, suffering becomes inevitable. Pain becomes the teacher you refuse to learn from gently. Nothing in life stays forever, and that includes the things you are afraid to outgrow. But the beauty of letting go is that it creates space for peace, for clarity, for purpose, for new blessings that were always waiting for you to make room for them. But why is it so hard? Because your mind is wired for familiarity, not happiness. Because healing requires moving through discomfort, and discomfort is something most people avoid. Because letting go feels like losing something, even when what you're losing is what is hurting you. Because we fear the unknown, even when the known is destroying us. But the unknown is where your transformation lives. The unknown is where your strength grows. The unknown is where your life begins again. And God, the universe, your inner self, whatever name you choose, will keep sending you the same lesson, the same signs, the same warnings, until you finally choose yourself. Your intuition is not random. It is your internal compass. Every time you feel uneasy around someone, that is guidance. Every time you feel drained after certain conversations, that is a signal. Every time you try to rest, but your spirit still feels heavy, that is a warning. Your soul speaks long before your mind understands. But if you silence your intuition because you fear change, then life will intervene in a way that you cannot ignore. The collapse you experience is often the breakthrough you avoided. The ending you feared is often the beginning you needed. The discomfort you feel is often the universe removing you from what you refuse to walk away from voluntarily. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. Behind you is everything familiar, even if it has been hurting you. In front of you is open sky, uncertain, unfamiliar, unpredictable. Most people step backward because fear convinces them that safety exists in what they already know. But real safety exists in alignment, not in comfort. Real protection exists in truth, not in familiarity. Real peace exists in release, not in attachment. And sometimes, the universe will push you forward because it knows you will never jump on your own. You must understand something deeply. Holding on to what damages you is not loyalty, it is self-abandonment. Staying where you are mistreated is not patience, it is self-neglect. Returning to what breaks you is not love, it is a form of spiritual self-harm. You were not created to suffer repeatedly in the same cycle. You were created to grow beyond it. You must choose differently if you want to live differently. You must be brave enough to walk away from the people who do not value you. You must be disciplined enough to release the habits that sabotage you. You must be conscious enough to recognize the patterns that repeat in your life. And you must be honest enough to admit when something or someone is damaging you, even if you once loved it. The moment you choose yourself, you break the cycle. The moment you prioritize your peace, you end the pattern. The moment you walk away from what damages you, you step into alignment with what was meant for you. And alignment is where miracles happen. Alignment is where clarity returns. Alignment is where your true life begins. This is why the message comes as a warning. Not from fear, but from love, because you are standing at a crossroads, and the universe is telling you that you cannot go forward while still carrying what is pulling you backward. If you want to step into your destiny, you must release what has been draining your spirit. If you want to evolve, you must stop returning to what keeps you small. If you want to feel peace again, you must stop choosing your old pain. You are stronger than your patterns. You are bigger than your past. You are greater than the limitations you once settled for. And the moment you stop returning to what damages you, life will begin to open in ways you have not yet imagined. There is a moment in life when the truth you have been avoiding begins to rise within you like a quiet fire, slow but persistent, calm but unignorable. It sits in your chest, not as anxiety but as pressure, not as fear but as a calling. You feel it when the world around you grows silent, and you notice a small whisper inside saying, "You are meant for more than this." It is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is steady, patient, and timeless. That whisper is your purpose, and it has been calling your name for years. But too often, you silence it with distractions, doubts, excuses, and the belief that you have more time. But life, in its wisdom, begins to warn you. You must answer your purpose before it's too late. Purpose does not scream. It does not force itself into your life. It waits. And while it waits, it watches you repeat the same cycles, protect the same limitations, and carry the same fears that prevent you from becoming who you were created to be. Purpose is the quiet, knowing that you are not living at your full capacity. It is the awareness that you have potential inside you that you have not touched. It is the feeling that something greater is possible, something more aligned, more authentic, more meaningful. And yet, even with this awareness, many people continue to postpone their calling, believing that someday will come on its own. But someday is not a guarantee. Someday is a comfort you give yourself so you don't have to confront the discomfort of change today. You have talents inside you that have been dormant for too long. You have dreams you abandoned, not because they were impossible, but because you convinced yourself you were not ready. You have ideas that entered your mind not by accident, but because they were seeds meant to be planted through your actions. You carry wisdom shaped by your struggles, vision shaped by your imagination, and strength shaped by your survival. All of these were given to you for a reason. Your purpose has been patiently waiting for the moment when you would finally choose to listen. But life is reminding you now, if you do not answer your calling, the world will never receive the gifts only you can bring. The greatest tragedy in life is not failure, it is not rejection, it is not defeat. The greatest tragedy is living a life where your potential remains untouched, your dreams remain unexpressed, and your gifts remain hidden. The greatest tragedy is waking up decades later and realizing that your soul wanted to grow, but your fear kept you small. That your purpose tried to reach you, but your excuses stood in the way. That life offered you opportunities, but you rejected them because you doubted your own worth. There is no pain greater than the pain of unrealized possibility, the pain of what could have been. The calling inside you does not go away. You can ignore it, bury it, distract yourself from it, but it will always return. Some nights it keeps you awake. Some days it feels like restlessness. Sometimes it shows up as dissatisfaction, even when your life seems fine on the outside. That feeling is not confusion. It is direction. It is the universe telling you, this is not your final form. This is not the end of your story. The discomfort you feel is not something to escape, it is something to investigate. Because every dream inside you is a responsibility. Every talent inside you is an assignment. Every ability inside you is a message. And the message is clear. You were not sent here just to exist. You were sent here to create, to influence, to evolve, to elevate others through your own growth. Purpose does not require perfection. It requires willingness. Yet many people wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect confidence before they begin. But perfection is the enemy of progress, and waiting for it is the fastest way to lose your destiny. The right time is not in the future. The right time is the moment you decide to take one step forward. The right time is when you are still breathing, still learning, still capable of choosing a different path. As long as breath is in your body, purpose is in your reach. But the more you neglect it, the harder it becomes to hear its voice. Not because it weakens, but because your distractions grow louder. Many people tell themselves the lie that one day they will chase their purpose. After things get easier, after life becomes stable, after fear disappears. But ease is not where purpose lives. Purpose is born in challenge, strengthened in discipline, expanded in courage. Purpose requires you to walk through uncertainty with trust. It asks you to leave behind the version of yourself built from your past and step into the version built from your potential. It asks you to stop hiding behind excuses and start living behind intention. Your purpose is calling you because there is something only you can do. Your voice carries a frequency no one else carries. Your experience carries a lesson no one else can teach. Your journey carries a medicine no one else can provide. There are people in this world who will only be touched, moved, or awakened through your presence, your words, your actions, your example. If you silence your purpose, you silence the impact you were meant to create. You may think your dream is too small, but you do not know how far its ripple will reach. You may think your talent is insignificant, but you do not see how deeply it could heal another person's life. You may think your ideas are not enough, but you do not understand that even one idea pursued with courage can shift the course of your future. You may think your voice does not matter, but there is someone in this world who needs to hear it. Someone whose breakthrough is waiting on your bravery. The fear you feel is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are standing at the edge of your growth. Fear does not mean you are unprepared. Fear means you are expanding beyond the limits of your past. Every meaningful transformation begins with fear. Every powerful journey begins with uncertainty. Every person who ever accomplished something significant started without all the answers. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is not talent. It is action. It is the willingness to answer the call, even when you do not feel ready. When you choose your purpose, life rearranges itself around your decision. Doors open that you didn't know existed. People appear who guide, support, and elevate you. Opportunities emerge at the exact moment you need them. Your intuition strengthens. Your energy increases. Your confidence grows through action, not before it. Purpose aligns your path. But alignment only happens once you commit. Life will keep sending you reminders, first as gentle whispers, then as emotional discomfort, then as dissatisfaction, then as restlessness, then as a sudden moment of clarity. And if you keep ignoring all of it, life will send you disruption, not to punish you, but to push you back into your path. When you ignore your inner calling, life becomes heavier. You begin to feel disconnected, directionless, drained. That is not depression, it is misalignment. When you live outside of your purpose, your energy dims. When you move toward your purpose, your energy rises. Purpose is your natural state. Anything else creates friction. You must understand something deeply. Purpose is not something you find. It is something you remember. It has always been within you. It shows itself in the things that bring you alive, the things you lose track of time doing, the things that awaken inspiration rather than obligation. Your purpose is the intersection between what you love, what you are good at, and what elevates others. But recognition alone is not enough. You must act. You must choose. You must say yes to the voice inside you that has been calling you to rise. And do not underestimate how many times life has already tried to guide you. The opportunities you ignored, the ideas you dismissed, the dreams you postponed, the moments when your heart felt drawn towards something, but your fear pulled you away. All of those were invitations. Invitations you will continue to receive until you finally accept. Because purpose is patient, but life is not infinite. Every day you delay, you lose time that you cannot regain. You may still reach your destiny, but you will reach it later with more scars than necessary. The wake-up call you feel now is not an accident. It is not random. It is not a coincidence. It is divine timing. You are being asked to stop running from what you are meant to become. You are being asked to stop betraying your own potential. You are being asked to reclaim the life that fear took from you. You are being asked to step into your true identity. The identity that is powerful, capable, disciplined, and aligned. There will always be reasons to wait. There will always be fears that whisper. There will always be doubts that rise. But you must choose to rise higher than your excuses. You must choose to step forward, even if your hands are shaking. You must choose to trust the calling inside you more than the comfort around you. When you choose purpose, you choose a life of meaning over a life of survival. You choose growth over stagnation. You choose courage over fear. And God, the universe, your higher self, all of it supports you the moment you make that decision. Your purpose is calling you. It has been calling you for a long time. And now, that call has become louder because the time has come. You cannot hide from it anymore. You cannot postpone it anymore. You cannot pretend you do not feel it. If you do not answer your purpose, life will feel incomplete. No matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you accumulate, no matter how comfortable you become, fulfillment comes from alignment, not from avoidance. This is your warning, but it is also your invitation. Choose your purpose now, while you still have the power to shape your life. Do not wait until life forces you into change. Do not wait until regret becomes heavier than fear. Do not wait until you are older and wishing you had been braver. Choose now. Step now. Begin now. Your purpose is calling, and this time, you must answer. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many people see it as restriction, as limitation, as something heavy that steals comfort and adds pressure. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline is not a prison. It is the key that unlocks freedom. It is the bridge between who you are now and who you have the potential to become. It is the internal agreement you make with yourself that your future deserves more devotion than your excuses. When God gives a final warning, when life sends a message loud enough to wake you from your sleep, it is often this: you cannot pray for a better life while living with the habits that keep you small. You cannot ask for transformation while repeating the choices that create your struggle. Discipline is the language through which your purpose communicates with reality. Without it, nothing changes. With it, everything changes. There comes a moment when you realize that motivation will not always be there. Inspiration will fade. Excitement will fluctuate. But discipline is the structure that remains when emotion disappears. It is the force that carries you through the days when your mind tries to pull you backward into old patterns. Discipline is the promise you make to your future self, and every time you keep that promise, your soul becomes stronger. Every time you break it, you weaken the bridge that leads you forward. People often wait for the perfect feeling before they act. They wait to feel ready, to feel energized, to feel confident. But discipline teaches you a deeper truth. You must act even when you don't feel like it. Because if you only move when you feel inspired, you will move too little and too late. The life you want requires consistency, not convenience. It requires commitment, not comfort. Growth is not built from occasional effort. It is built from the days when you show up, even when everything inside you wants to stop. That is where true transformation begins. Discipline is a spiritual practice. It is not just about waking up early or working hard. It is about mastering the mind. The mind is powerful, but without direction, it becomes your biggest obstacle. It will create stories to protect your fears, excuses to defend your comfort, and illusions to justify inaction. It will convince you that you have more time, that you can start tomorrow, that your dreams can wait. But your dreams are not waiting. Your potential is not waiting. Only your fear is waiting for you to surrender to it again. Discipline is the way you take back control of your mind. It is the way you remind yourself that you are in charge, not your excuses. When you commit to discipline, you begin to rewire your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles and start seeing yourself as someone who is capable, reliable, and strong. Identity follows action. Every disciplined act is a vote for the person you want to become. Every undisciplined act is a vote for the person you are trying to outgrow. Change does not happen in an instant. It happens through the daily silent decisions that no one sees. It happens through the choices you make when no one is watching. It happens through the internal battles you win long before your external life begins to transform. People who lack discipline suffer in ways they do not even recognize. They suffer from the chaos of inconsistency. They suffer from the weight of unfulfilled dreams. They suffer from regret, from disappointment, from the quiet pain of knowing they could be more but are choosing less. They suffer from being controlled by impulses rather than direction. They suffer because their life moves them instead of them moving their life. Discipline removes this suffering. It creates order where there was disorder, clarity where there was confusion, strength where there was weakness. It gives you the ability to respond to life rather than react to it. The problem is that most people associate discipline with pain. They see it as something harsh, something that takes effort, something that demands sacrifice. But the truth is that life will require sacrifice no matter what. You will either sacrifice for your dreams or sacrifice your dreams. You will either choose the discomfort of discipline or the discomfort of regret. You will either face the temporary pain of effort or the long, lasting pain of inaction. There is no path without pain. The only difference is whether the pain builds you or breaks you. Discipline is not punishment. It is protection. It protects you from becoming a prisoner of your impulses. It protects you from living life aimlessly. It protects you from the version of yourself that settles for mediocrity. It protects your future from being destroyed by your present comfort. It is the shield that guards your purpose from the distractions of the world. It is the anchor that keeps your spirit grounded in a world full of noise. It is the compass that guides you back to your path when you drift. Without discipline, you are easily influenced by your surroundings. With discipline, you influence your surroundings. One of the most important truths you must understand is this: discipline creates freedom. It may seem contradictory, but freedom does not come from doing whatever you want. Freedom comes from gaining control over the things that control you. Freedom comes from mastering your cravings, your urges, your doubts, your fears, your laziness. Freedom comes from knowing that you can trust yourself. Imagine the strength of becoming a person who does not rely on external pressure to take action. Imagine waking up each day knowing that your own promise to yourself is enough. Imagine living a life where you no longer feel trapped by your own habits. That is freedom. And it is only possible through discipline. When discipline becomes part of your identity, you no longer make decisions based on mood. You make decisions based on purpose. You begin to show up for yourself not because you feel like it, but because you understand the importance of every moment. You understand that every day is either moving you closer to your destiny or further away from it. There is no neutral. Life is always shifting. Every choice is a step, either forward or backward. When you embrace discipline, you choose the direction. You may not realize it now, but discipline affects every aspect of your life. It affects your health, because the body cannot flourish without consistent care. It affects your relationships, because love cannot thrive without effort, honesty, and intentionality. It affects your mind, because clarity cannot exist without structure. It affects your finances, because abundance cannot grow without responsibility. It affects your purpose, because potential cannot express itself without consistency. Discipline is the foundation beneath everything meaningful. There will be days when you want to quit. Days when the journey feels long, when progress feels slow, when results are invisible. But those are the most important days. Those are the days where average people fall away and extraordinary people rise. Those are the days where life tests you to see if you are truly committed or only interested. Remember, this: interest fades, commitment remains. Interest is emotional, commitment is spiritual. Interest is temporary, commitment is identity. Discipline transforms interest into commitment. The road of discipline is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Because discipline does something miraculous over time. It builds momentum. The first steps are difficult. The early days require effort. But gradually, your actions become your habit. Your habits become your nature. And your nature becomes your strength. And once discipline becomes your nature, success becomes inevitable. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because you became the kind of person who earns it. People often pray for strength, but strength comes from discipline. They pray for clarity, but clarity comes from discipline. They pray for blessings, but blessings require the structure and capacity that discipline creates. God does not withhold opportunities. People withhold their own readiness. When your life is disorganized, when your mind is unfocused, when your habits are inconsistent, you are not prepared to receive what you are praying for. Discipline creates the internal order that allows external blessings to enter. If you want a higher life, you must adopt higher habits. If you want a new destiny, you must create a new pattern. If you want transformation, you must train consistently. The body becomes strong through repetition. The mind becomes wise through consistency. The spirit becomes grounded through practice. Discipline is the daily ritual that shapes all three. There is a version of you that you have not met yet. A version that is powerful, sharp, grounded, and unstoppable. That version of you does not appear through wishful thinking. It appears through disciplined action. Every time you choose discipline, you step closer to that version. Every time you choose comfort, you step further away. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not luck. It is discipline. This keynote is a reminder, a warning, a wake-up call. The life you desire will not come to you simply because you want it. It will come because you built yourself into the person who can maintain it. Without discipline, dreams collapse under their own weight. With discipline, dreams become reality. You must learn to master your time, your energy, your choices. You must learn to create schedules that align with your goals. You must learn to say no to distractions, to temptations, to invitations that pull you away from your path. You must learn to break the cycle of procrastination. not by force, but by understanding that every moment wasted is a moment taken from your future. You must learn to train your body, not for appearance, but for strength. You must learn to train your mind, not just for knowledge, but for clarity. You must train your discipline, not for control, but for freedom. Remember this always: discipline is not pain. Discipline is love. It is the deepest form of self-respect. It is saying to yourself, I deserve more than my excuses. It is choosing your future over your temporary comfort. It is honoring your potential instead of surrendering to your fear. It is respecting the sacred gift of time God gave you. It is stepping into your divine responsibility to become the strongest, clearest, most capable version of yourself. You were created with potential, but potential means nothing without discipline. You were given a purpose, but purpose means nothing without discipline. You were shown signs, warnings, dreams, visions, but all of them mean nothing without discipline. This is the message: discipline is your path to freedom. Discipline is your path to transformation. Discipline is your path to the life that has been calling you for years. And if you ignore this message, nothing in your life will change. But if you embrace it, truly embrace it, everything in your life will change. Because discipline does not just shape your actions, it shapes your destiny.